and development from that state have been kind of controversial, for the obvious, the political impasse, between different camps, that of the incumbent governor, Sasim Fubara, and the elsewhere governor, Minister Yeson Wike, who is now the minister in charge of the FCT. Many development, that has to do with critical infrastructure, that has to do with, sectors of the state, talking about the judiciary, the legislature rather, the local government, chairman tenureship of the local government chairmanship tenure in different parts of the state, which has really degenerated to what we are seeing right now. And just earlier in the week, while some senators on oversight function visited Governor Sim Fubara, the governor said that the explosion, in fact, some call it a failed dynamite explosion that happened, was targeted at a particular, hotel called Hotel Presidential, and it was meant to spite, the name of the state. It was meant to create an atmosphere of panic, especially the opposition that have called for the state of emergency in that particular state, and many more developments that I'm sure that is not what the people of Rivers want at this time, but then that is what we are seeing. I know, to shed more clarity, to put more clarity into that, we have been joined this morning by Mr. BENARD ODIKE. Mr. BENARD ODIKE is the Special Assistant to the Governor on New Media. He joins us live from Port Harcourt, virtually, by the way. Good morning, Honorable ODIKE. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good morning, Femi. Thank you for having me on your program.
Thank you very much. And, let's start from there. We'll talk about the local government, issues, the tenure elongations that the former local government chairman were talking about, the law that established it for them. And then after the tenure was, came to an end, the governor, Sasim Fubara, as, sworn in new caretaker chairman, but till now, they're unable to access their local government secretariat because the police are the one guarding the secretariat for security reasons. That's the reason being given. But we'll come back to that. But earlier, there was this explosion, and many persons have supported a failed attempt, even though there were, people that were injured. And just like I said, when some senators visited Sasim Fubara said the opposition planned it to spite, his administration, and to give a reason for the call from the opposition that there should be a state of emergency, by now in Rivers State. But your principal is saying there is absolutely no reason for that. And the targeted hotel was even Hotel Presidential. I need your take on that.
Okay, Femi, what's happening in Rivers State is can just be summed up to be, let's say, an act or acts of orchestration by some disgruntled politicians who have lost out. I will always maintain, or as it's the general notion, that the minority will always have their say while the majority have their way. And I've always maintained that the present government in Rivers State has the full backing of over 98% of the Rivers State population. As I speak to you, it could even be up to 99% at present. We've seen cases where people, outrightly came out to make, statements that are completely indecorous against the governor of the day and even his administration, which ought not to be. But in his usual manner, the governor has always, maintained calm, not really being ruffled, because he knows that, like he would always say, he likens it to a situation where ego, that a crow, he talks about a crow that will go and perch on the back of the eagle. So what the ego does is that the ego doesn't mind it. What the ego does is to go higher, soar higher into the sky. It will get to a point where that crew will lack oxygen, and it naturally will fall off and then fall down to the ground. I think that's exactly how governor has been handling the issue. Now, on the issue of the series of issues in River State, earlier before now, when the initial disagreements arose in River State, it all came to the fore. Maybe a night before 30th, that's on the 29th of July, when some unknown persons went and bombed or whatever, detonated an explosive, whatever, in the River State House of Assembly complex that, created, fire outbreak there, and it compromised that building. The following day, it's in public that the Martin Ameghule-led group, proceeded on impeachment, whatever, though failed impeachment attempt on the governor, which now, led to series of other events. Okay. And thereafter, we've had the former immediate past governor of the state, the present day Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Chief Barrister Nyesom Ezenwa-Wike, come out publicly to say that he knows he will lose this battle, but that this state will be made ungovernable. So we are not unaware of what's happening. It's a case of, like I said earlier on, that the whole thing can be summed up in a word: orchestration. These are just deliberate acts, intended to create, that narrative that River State is not safe. Talking about the detonation of explosive device called dynamite on that particular day, right almost in front of Hotel Presidential, on a day that committees, a House Senate committee and the House committee, we are jointly in the state for, oversight function, tells a lot. Like the governor stated, perhaps their intention was to make the National Assembly members have an impression, even when they go back, to now say, look, that they should support, a call for a state of emergency, which that the embattled factional chairman of APC in River State, Mr. Tony Okocha, had already proclaimed that there should be a declaration of state of emergency in River State. And remember, Tony Okocha is one of the hatchet men of the erstwhile governor of River State, who is presently the FCT minister. So their intent was very clear. But as God would have it, the man who intended to detonate that dynamite or what the explosive device, I think his identity has been known. Josiah Prie, also, a graduate of Imo State University, also a university in Imo State. While trying to detonate that, I think accident occurred. The thing exploded in his hand and caused him a severe injury that the doctors described as a traumatic, serious injury. Initially the news was that, because eyewitnesses reported initially that he died, and then they tried to evacuate him, clean up, and then make it look as if nothing happened. But later, based on the directive of the government through the office of the Commissioner for Health, to health facilities in the state to watch out, if any such patient, any person with such this thing would present, any such case would be presented, and as God would have it, they took the person to state government-owned River State University Teaching Hospital, one of the best today in the country, because they needed to save his life. So, but when they got there, they presented the person and reported that it was an auto accident that caused it. But on a closer look and assessment by the medical people, they were able to establish that it was not caused by auto accident, but actually the suspect they were looking for, the person who detonated the dynamite, You know, so they alerted the government, and then the government also alerted the commissioner of police, and the rest of the story, you know, that the police is already, in surveillance. And maybe a kind of cordoning of the vicinity, the hospital vicinity, to ensure that so maybe further damages are not done, or maybe whatever. I think as it is now, the young man is in the custody of the police right there in the hospital. So that's that for now. You know.
All right.
I don't know if I've answered your question.
And thank you, Mr. ODIKE. Many persons will say, isn't that too early? That immediately that failed explosion happened, and your camp, the Commissioner for Health, everybody were already pointing towards opposition to say they are the ones who have done it. Firstly, I'd like to ask, due to normal logic, yes, please hold on. Normal logic would say if it was truly a dynamite, and a dynamite exploded rather in close proximity with a body, it should have been, the body will have been shattered.
From where I come from, look, I come from a part of River State where we do fishing, and we also do cultivation on the soil.
Okay.
Now I know that some people had this attitude of, unlawfully using dynamite for fishing. I know of some cases. At least I know of 2-3 cases. In fact, one of them is still alive. From my neighboring community. He used to base in another, Obiakpo axis of River State, those days where we call Rumolumeni axis. He used to base there, and then he goes fishing using dynamite. In one occasion, that guy was a professional in the use of dynamite. One day, I don't know what he was doing with dynamite, and the thing detonated, and right there in the waterfront, the thing cut off his fingers. He's still there today. If I have my way, I can just snap. One day, if I go to the village, I will look for him, snap his hand, and show you to see what it looks like. Fingers, the fingers were cut off, not the entire hands were not even bruised. So don't even go there to argue that if dynamite explodes in somebody's hand, that it will. It depends on the positioning of that dynamite at the time. So don't argue it. I'm telling you based on what I know. Dynamite. There's one other guy. He's late now. Also dynamite cut off his upper limb. From I think that from the region of the elbow down. Cut off his limb. This was a young man. Or the strong guy, one of the strong guys those days, But he's dead now. I think he was still killed by gun, in the process or something. But those days when we were having issues of militancy in this Niger Delta region, he's dead now. Even with the one arm remaining, he was still acting.
All right.
Very active.
Yeah.
So that's don't argue that.
Mr. ODIKE, this is absolutely not about argument. It's about clarification. And,
that's what I'm doing.
Shedding more light, and that's why I have you here to speak with. So absolutely, this is not about argument.
No. But I hope you clarify that it's possible that that dynamite could actually cause such level of harm.
Yeah,
not
you have just
to
explained.
Dismember.
Ours is to ask the question. Yours is to provide clarification, and it's our people's own to make use of that. But away from that. We are just asking, and for the betterment, this program is essentially for the betterment of this nation called Nigeria and its subnationals, talking about all the states. That's why we reach out to you, and we are very glad that you're obliging us again. We've spoken to you many times. And when the parliamentarians came to Port Harcourt, and, led by former Abia governor, who is now a senator, a high-ranking one, Senator Oji Kalu, he praised your principal to say, thank you for the good work you are doing here, but he was majorly talking about peace and peace and peace. Peace from your camp, peace from the Yeson Wike camp. He even said he was going to see the president for intervention again, because the president has intervened before, that was going to use his good position to speak with President Tinubu and to reach out to the camp of Minister Wike again on this matter. But when it was the turn of your principal to talk, he alleged categorically that that explosion was aimed at creating an atmosphere for the senators to look into the matter and say, oh, really, maybe this state is ungovernable. And he talked about the local government situation. In fact, he asked Senator ODIKE to say, when you are a governor, was there tenure elongation within your time? Is it normal? No. And he talked about several of those things. And to many persons, Honorable ODIKE, you know, the posture from your principal, what people could read before, they saw him as a man of peace, who is gentle, who is quiet. But with the recent utterance from him, with the way he's been going about things, many persons are saying, maybe your principal too is quite a tough man, or is the situation that is bringing this out of him to say anything the opposing camp is bringing, we are ready to give it to them. Would that be correct?
Oh, my principal didn't say so, and that has never been his disposition in all of this. His position has, if you listen to ODIKE very well, he made remarks to say that even from his smile, the smile of the governor, the way he laughs, the way he looks, his approach portrays him as a man of peace. And I can tell you that, look, even yesterday I was talking to one of my friends in the camp of the FCT minister, and you know, I reminded him that when we had one Thanksgiving service, I think in the governor's LGA, the governor at a point went sober, and he said that he feels sad that people from that other camp who were part of the program that day. The governor has also expressed that if they can, you know, lay down the arms, if they can just, you know, let bygone be bygone and come, so that we can work together and move the state forward in peace. You know, the issue is that, like I was talking at the point I spoke with him, and I pointed accusing finger towards the FCT minister. For instance, let's assume that he went into gambling. When you go into gambling, two things are involved. Either you win or you lose. Are we communicating? We are not talking about somebody who negotiated with somebody on what belongs to him. The state belongs to all of us. And the FCT minister had one time, you know, at several times, he had been a local government chairman for 2 terms. He had been a chief of staff in this state for 1 term. That's for 4 years. And thereafter made minister and served for almost 4 years. And then thereafter became governor of the state. And we all gave him support for 8 years. And we worked with him and went with him all the way, gave him all the power, all the strength that he could boast about today. And sometimes I think along the line, he felt that the power was his own power, not realizing that it was power given to him by the people. We helped him to be who he is. And then now, after being governor for 8 years, as an opposition, as we worked and gave him support, he also got the favor of the president and was appointed a federal minister again, and has strong favor of the governor as minister of the FCT. And what again, if he had any agreement, I don't know, we don't know. Like I was telling my friend, I said, he and I mean himself and myself, we are not privy to whatever if I thought they had an agreement, whatever it is, we do not know. All we knew was that, all we know is that the former governor is calling keep on calling the present governor ungrateful person. Now, the question the governor himself had asked is, what crime did I commit? That question till tomorrow has not been answered. But let's even take it from angle, from the way they have been bringing it from. Oh, like that, my friend tried to say that he breached our agreement. What is the agreement? Maybe to share. Let's even assume that, to share. Let's even assume that, I'm not saying that that's what it is, because I do not know. Now, if you have said to share, and the governor looked at it that, that the interest of the people is uppermost. For instance, from what you and I already know, which is in public, almost all the commissioners, 100% of the commissioners ab initio were people who were influenced to be in that administration, this present administration, by the former governor of the states. He interfered in barely everything, like the governor would say during the 1-year anniversary. He said that in reality, that he has just been in control for 3-4 months. That is, impliedly what it means is that there was an external force that was really, impeding on the administration, running of the administration of the states. And he was not satisfied. And they came to the point where he felt that, that the governor is biting more than he could chew. And then decided to now send his boys, the assembly guys, to impeach a governor. I think that's what brought us to where we are.
All right.
And the governor will not fold his arm, knowing too well that it was a collective bargain of the people that made him the governor of the state. And he has the constitution, and then the laws of the state, and then the interests of the people to protect, because posterity will judge him.
All right, Honorable ODIKE, I had to say that because that's some of the feelings, from the streets, by the way. And, there was an issue, I think, on the day that tenure that tenure of those chairmen got exhausted. There was this rally or thereabout. And then there was an emergency security meeting that was called. And after that meeting, Sasim Fubara addressed the people. He got the microphone and he said, yes, we have had a meeting to keep everything very peaceful. And he said he had an information that his supporters were being harassed and they have been billed to be arrested. And he said, let nobody do it. That he said, I dare you, anybody that will want to attack my supporters will have to go through me. Those were his words. How many persons are thinking, does your principal have a supporter? Is he not supposed to be a father for the state? Why protecting some against some? How about people that are neither here nor there? He's supposed to be a father figure. Why say if you attack my supporter, you have to go through me? He said it.
The governor is a politician. Now, yes, when it is assumed that when election, after election...
I thought he said politics is over.
Yes, I'm coming. Yeah, the governor is a politician. And then it's also agreeable that after electioneering, that what follows is governance.
Absolutely.
When the elected is put in office. Now, but even at that, that's why a whole lot of us are worried with what the FCT minister started in the state with his men. By now, we should be concentrating, together to see how we move our states forward. Though, in the face of all this, the governor had remained undeterred. Governance is taking place in Rivers State. He's focused. He's not distracted. So the statement from governor does not mean that he's segregating anywhere. Every person in Rivers State is assumed to be a supporter of the governor. But there are people today, there are people today who are politically inclined. You have seen them protesting and even speaking ill against the governor. So such a person who is speaking against the governor cannot be called a supporter. And there are people who are speaking in support of the governor to speak against those who are speaking against the governor. So those who speak for the governor are supporting the governor. And those who are speaking against the governor are against the governor. A case where somebody comes out to speak for the governor and he is labeled or maybe try to be framed up for one thing or another, like what we saw in recent past. I think court has discharged those guys, where even the present chief of staff was labeled as a terrorist or whatever. These are things the governor is saying. And the governor as a custodian of authority of Rivers State. What that statement simply means is that, look, man, if you want to bring illegality against any citizen of Rivers State, you have to go through the authority of this state to be able to achieve that. The governor is the custodian of the authority of this state. So That's exactly what the governor meant when he said what he said. Like, the governor did not say he will take up arms to go and fight anybody, or that he would do anything extrajudiciary or extra legal. No, the governor is only saying that, look, that there is authority which he presides over, which is in charge of, or he's a custodian of. And for you to do anything illegality, anything in the wrong way, you have to go through that authority to be able to achieve that.
Right.
So that's what it means. The governor is not saying that he wants to go to war with anybody.
Yeah, you are the one. It's very good. I think I feel good that I asked you that question and you are explaining it now. You know, there are supporters everywhere. Anything anybody does, there are supporters. And when politics is involved, you know how passionate your supporters can be, especially having a hoodwink of a particular statement, and then they go on with it, even without having the right context. So when you see a governor like your principal speak in that term publicly, some will just go to the bank with that to think, oh, we are not the one in charge. We can do anything. Nobody can touch us. And that's why I asked that question, that maybe some people are beginning to see that maybe your principal is not as gentle as he is if he has said that if you touch my supporter, or if you want to, you have to go through me. It's neither the police, it's neither the military, you know, it's the chief executive, but it doesn't control the federal apparatus.
Let me throw more light on that. Like, after the swearing in of the caretaker chairman on that fateful day, the governor instructed the chairman so inaugurated. Are you hearing me?
Yes, please.
To go back to their various local government areas and ensure that peace is maintained, right, that there was no need for confrontation with anybody, that nobody should also go and force his way into the council. Hence, the police had issued statements that they are condoning the council secretariats to avert breakdown of law and order. Personally, I was in my council that day. I went, you know, I got to that place and tried to find out who the leader of the police team that were around my council gate that day. Unfortunately for me, I saw a secondary school mate, a police officer, and I walked up to him and I was like, you know, by the time by the time I talked, we realized that he could not recognize and remember that we were schoolmates indeed. And then we kind of hugged ourselves and then exchanged banters. But fortunately, the young man introduced himself as the DPO. So he was in charge of that team. And he made it clear that they were there to, you know, by the orders of the Commissioner of Police, to ensure that that there was no breakdown of law and order, you know, that they were there to maintain law and order and all the rest. And that was it. So our people, later the chairman came to the council the following day, and then he addressed, that was after the inauguration anyway, he came to the council that particular day to address the people. And he told them to maintain the peace, that there was no need, you know, having any confrontation with anybody based on the directive of the governor, that the governor has maintained the peaceful disposition. Therefore, Rivers people who are looking up to him too should do the same. But if you watch, even after that time, it was the same, what's their name? The supporters of the FCT minister, they now felt that, you know, because we had maintained peaceful disposition, they got emboldened and kept on carrying on protests and all the rest. And we did not go, none of our supporters went to confront them. And that's why they, you know, because we knew their antics. They wanted us to come out and confront them so that there would be breakdown of law and order to still give way for them to achieve their expectation. They want a declaration of state of emergency in Rivers State so that they could come through the back door to take control of the state. But we know, and they will not fall for it.
All right.
So that's it.
Yeah, Honorable, let me ask you this. Still talking about this local government, the day that this new caretaker chairman was sworn in, just like you said, your principal told them, no need to force your way in. Stay with what the law says. And he went for that to say that they can run the
No,
administration?
stay with what the law says. Wait, let's get that. I did not say that my principal said what the law says. Let's not go there.
Okay.
Police gave directive. The law was very clear. There was no law that barred the caretaker committee chairman or caretaker committee members from gaining access into the council. There was no law barring them.
Yeah,
there was no law.
I'm not talking about a specific law or order. I'm saying the police has the legal responsibility to keep law and order. That's what I'm saying. That's what I said here. I'm not saying there is a particular law or order that, you know, So your principal said they could run the administration of those local government from anywhere. Honorable, how possible, how legal is that? Did you hear me?
From anywhere is not outside the jurisdiction of that local government area. Like on that day, when the chairman in the presence of a chief magistrate in the LGA swore in the caretaker members in my LGA, I was there. It was within the jurisdiction of the local government area. Are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you.
Are you getting what I'm saying? Yeah, it is within the jurisdiction of the local government area. For instance, the outgone local government administration in my LGA, they operated outside the council all through, because the outgone chairman, Chede Lloyd, decided to pull down the administrative, in fact, almost all the buildings in the council to build new ones, which he could not complete before he left office. You know, in fact, they were I can say that they were abandoned. He abandoned the project. So I can even get a pictorial evidence of what is left there. He did not operate from the council all through. He operated within the jurisdiction of the local government area, and it was not an issue.
All right. And
so wherever the truth of the matter is pending, whatever, you know, because for the fact that the police who say they are friend of all, that they have come out to say that, look, to avert, it's not like if we want to say that we want to push our way in through the council secretariats. The people who are protesting or trying to protest cannot stop us. They can't. They don't even have the capacity to stop us. They don't have the numbers too. They don't have the wherewithal to do so. But we are mindful of the fact that, look, River State is a place where the present administration had brought it to, you know, where you can call a friendly state for investment to thrive. Recently, I'm aware that the governor had to cancel a revocation that was done by the immediate past administration, Le Meridian Hotel, owned by erstwhile military administration of River State General Antonio Go. A massive structure, a thriving hotel in this city, one of the best. You know, he revoked their certificate of ownership. You know, such things appear hostile to the business community or business environment. Governor Fubara has come and studied the situation and came to find out that it was not necessary, and gave a reason that, you know, because the reason that was given for revocation was for government use. So he had looked at it that there was no need for it. He has cancelled that revocation, which means that that business can go on. What that means is that the present administration is doing everything within its capacity to tell the business community, investors all over the world, home and away, that River State is a, you know, is a conducive place for you to come and do business. So those who know that this is the direction of the governor and he has maintained that disposition would not want to play into the hands of people who had even told us ab initio that they know they will not win the war, but that they will make the states ungovernable. So we will not play into their games.
Yeah.
If we go against them, assuming we go against them, we will crush them. While crushing them, we would have created an atmosphere that will make River State appear to look, you know, unsafe, isn't it? So they had their free will to demonstrate and do whatever they wanted to do unmolested.
All right.
So we're good
And
to go. It's even within their constitutional right, to protest. So long as they are not, but it's unfortunate that while protesting, that somebody, a member of their group, or some of them could carry weapons to the extent of carrying explosive that would detonate and cause, severe harm on the particular person.
yes,
Though I don't know how many
Honorable
people that were
ODIKE,
injured,
please
but at least
permit me
one
to,
person is
yes,
known.
permit me to
Josiah,
butt in
yeah.
here. We are going on a short break. But before that, since we are talking about this particular one, I just want us to land. And after that, we take this break, and then we'll come back to round it off. There have been rallies, different rallies from different people. And there were rallies from those at the other camp as well. And there was this particular one that was said to be in favor of police holding still to the locks and keys of these secretariats. And these rallies were done, by individuals from the other camp. And many persons are saying, wait a minute, why doing a rally to say we support the police to hold the lock of these local government secretariats? Is there anything sinister? And the question is, do you suspect, does your camp, the governor, yourself, do you suspect that the police are being influenced from powers that be, or they are just doing their job?
Well, that question would probably be asked to the police to answer. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know, because in the first place, like I said, I had said earlier on, based on the advice of the governor, which was to ensure that law and order, were not compromised in the state. Hence, allow police to do their job. Okay, so but coming for police, for instance, like the statement issued by the commissioner of police in Rivers State, citing order of a court, of the Court of Appeal. There I can fault some of the interpretation he was giving to that order of the court. The court did not grant any stay of execution to the opposite camp. What the court did was to say, look, we will not grant your stay of execution. We are granting your request for, admitting whatever you have filed to be proper.
Right.
We have also admitted to grant you accelerated hearing in the matter. And then the court went on to say, no, we will not grant you stay of execution. They cited other authorities, other cases, where even the Supreme Court decided that in a case like this, the subject matter on the appeal should be heard and then determined before such a decision can be taken. Hence, the court denied granting stay of execution. So, meaning that the earlier judgment of the Rivers State High Court that has declared Martin Ameghule and co. vacated as declared by the speaker then, that is stood. And then there was another judgment too from another court that had nullified whatever amendment that Martin Ameghule and co. thought they had done to the Rivers State local government law. Are you following me?
Right.
So all those judgments subsist. Nothing stopped them. As it is today, they recognize, because even after the appeal court ruling also on, the governor had gone ahead to send the names of caretaker committee members to the speaker, Okojombu, and they have screened and they have done their job. So governance is going on in Rivers State.
All right.
Governance is going on in Rivers State accordingly. Yeah. So it's not the issue is not it's not because court didn't say that when court said present status quo, present status quo that the court talked about was based on what was subsisting as at the time Martin Ameghule and co. went to the Court of Appeal to seek for stay of execution, and the court refused to grant that stay to say, look, wait. Let us, because even the court even made a statement to say that, look, when a trial court gives a judgment or a ruling, say it's assumed that that ruling or judgment is correct until otherwise proven.
All right.
The judge, while resolving, said that. So I don't know where people come up with all these misinterpretation and try to
All right,
hoodwink
Honorable,
the gullible
we'll go on this break.
to deceive. So
Thank you. Yeah, we'll go on this break. And when we return, please hang in there. You talked about, the sending of the name by the governor to a three-man House of Assembly, and another one, just like a month ago. The former governor, Nyesom Wike, said he agreed that he has made a mistake with the emergence of Governor Fubara, but in due course, he and his people are going to correct that particular mistake. I will take your reaction when we come back from this break. It's still Morning Spring or Western Spring Television. Please stay with us.